there dreamers, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new, welcome here. My name is Jacqueline, I'm really glad to have you. Thank you for spending some time here and consider subscribing if you are into Hoyas and houseplants. That's what this channel is all about and I'd love to have you hear more, so you can also click that bell to stay notified of anything new that's coming up on my channel. I'm not working on a schedule right now, so that's the best way to know what's happening. Today is a long-awaited video and today is my Hoya collection tour, my updated Hoya 2021 collection. I have a ton of Hoyas. Most of them are pretty small, and because of that, they require more care than if they were large. What I've kind of come to terms with is that I'm not happy caring for this many Hoyas. I have too many. I intend to sell the Hoyas that I am no longer going to be keeping on Etsy. I have never really shown you guys directly my Etsy store, so this is a new opportunity, and I would like to give people the opportunity to do local pickup for some of these Hoyas if they do live in my area. If you are interested in purchasing some Hoyas from my collection directly, that opportunity is coming. Make sure you hit that notification bell, turn on all notifications so that you know when that video goes live. When that video goes live, I am going to have those plants live and ready for purchase in my store. I will link it for you and everything in that video. I don't have multiples of things, so it's first come, first serve, and I hope some of you are local. It would be awesome to meet a couple of you. I started breaking them into sections, and so at first I show you all of the Hoyas that have been with me through 2 moves. They've lived in 3 different US states with me, so I call them the OGs. After that, I will show you some Hoyas that are kind of new to my collection that you've either seen in passing or haven't seen yet. And then after that, I'm just going to show you the remaining ones that I'm keeping in alphabetical order. If you enjoy it, let me know by leaving a like down below. Comment which of these is your favorite, or comment which Hoya maybe you're excited to try to purchase. I would love to hear from you in that comment section. Hoya carnosa compacta. This one I have had for a while now. You can see those brown spots on the leaves. I do not know if that is bacterial, fungal, or rust, but I have treated this plant with Physan 20 a couple of times to try to prevent that from spreading any further. It is not a cute look. I much prefer the healthy vines over on this side, though 4 of the 6 are pretty infected, so sad. This is the new growth on this plant. And there is my full trailing bowl of pasta. Carnosa Jade, Hoya carnosa green, has also been with me for some time. It recently got a trellis upgrade. It does have one random Crimson Princess variegation in there. I just kind of leave it be. This Hoya in the last 6 to 9 months has started putting off far more mature leaves in its new growth. This is its latest leaf that has hardened off. Has some splashiness, some veining. This Hoya carrii, or Hoya heart, came to me as those 5 leaves at the bottom that you're seeing now. Those 2 at the top were the first to grow in my care, and then the rest of these. It has this kind of weird texture and color differentiation even on individual leaves. I'll try to show you close up here in a second. But overall, this plant has been pretty happy for me. It's just kind of started growing again after my latest move to this location. You can kind of see that coloration discrepancy here. This is one of my favorite Hoyas. This is my Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess. I think I'm going to have to retrellis this one soon because it's just very full and not much place to go. But maybe we will use this one for my upcoming trellis video on how to trellis your Hoyas. The new growth on this one is a beautiful pink, so are the new vines. I love the markings on this one. I want to say I paid $8 for this at a big box store back in early 2020 or late 2019. I think it's still my best Hoya purchase to date, my biggest bargain. Very fast grower for me. Hoya multiflora, the first Hoya to ever flower for me. This one is also called the Hoya shooting stars occasionally. Mine has about 7 peduncles. 2 of these that you're seeing blasted all of their blooms because it was their first time flowering, but that one on the right is now fully blooming, and you saw it in the intro to this video. This plant is very different than other Hoyas. It has far thinner leaves, and the leaves take a long time to mature. I don't know if any of the leaves that have grown in my care in a year and a half have hardened off. So weird. Hoya obovata was a statue in my collection for the longest time, and just in the last probably 9 months it has started to really grow, and I'm loving the splashing that it's putting out on the leaves. I did trellis it because this one tends to be a very thick vine, and so if you let it go too long, you're really not going to have very much flexibility on shape. This one was not marked when I purchased it, but the other plants that were in the nursery that were the exact same plant were all marked Pubicalyx pink silver. So that's what I suspect this one is. It is the splashiest Hoya that I have. I love it. It is a very easygoing Hoya. I, again, recently re-trellised. I came into some new information on Hoyas and trellising them, so I will be sharing that information with you shortly. Hoya species affinity Burtonnae I also picked up at a big box store, and this one has probably tripled in foliage since I got it. It had 1 peduncle around this time last year, and I was so excited about it, and now it has about 8 or 9 peduncles I just found the other day. Most of them are at some point of budding, so it's very exciting stuff. And this one's in bloom right now too. I love the leaves on this. They are so incredibly soft, especially on the new growth. Obviously you want to be pretty gentle, but the new leaves are my favorite ones to pet. They are the most touchable, some of the most touchable leaves in my collection, the softest, silkiest leaves. This Hoya australis actually just got a new trellis situation as well. This plant has given me some of the hugest leaves off of one of my most basic Hoyas in my collection. Some of them are almost as large as my hand. They're huge, they have nice veining, and I just feel like of the australis varieties that are available, I really like mine. I don't know what it is specifically, but it's lovely. This Hoya Bella recently overheard my complaints about her online, where I was saying she grows like crazy but she won't give me any peduncles, and I noticed 2 peduncles on her this week. I'm so excited. She has grown so long that I had to kind of move her. She used to hang right behind me and it was making me a little claustrophobic because she's taking up so much space, but she's growing in all directions now. There are so many new vines that have sprouted out of that pot. It's putting off these huge leaves close to this grow light, and they're even kind of veiny and cool. This Hoya finlaysonii that I think might be Trang came from Sherry. This guy has not grown for me just yet, though there is a tiny little growth point at the top and some definite sun stressing on these leaves. Very cool. They're very thick. I can't wait to see what this one does. Hoya Mini Bell also came to me from Sherry, which was so sweet of her. I had never seen this one before, and I think it's a cross between Carnosa and Shepherdii. Hoya pachyclada, I believe is what this is, came to me unmarked at my local nursery, and it was not doing so well when I got it. You can see some very damaged leaves under these new ones, but it's thriving now. It's doing really well, and I am really enjoying the foliage it's putting off. I'll show you one of the mature leaves at the base, just how thick these leaves kind of plump up to be. Mine have not hardened off to that level yet, but all of these leaves have kind of grown in my care. That is the mature leaf, very thick and succulent. This Parasitica Splash came to me from Sherry in that trade as well. That is the new leaf it's put off in my care, and it's working on a couple little babies more down here. This Hoya fungi I recently unboxed in a video for you, so if you would like to see some more in-depth footage of this, you can go check that out after this video. I would love for you to see that too. Look at these gigantic dinosaur-like leaves. I adore them. I've wanted this Hoya since I learned about it about a year and a half ago, and I'm very excited to have added this to my collection. That leaf is my favorite. Hoya affinis was actually sold to me as Hoya dolichosparte, but this definitely matches all of the pictures I have seen online of Hoya affinis. It has grown for me like crazy. It got a new trellis recently, and it has beautiful kind of veined leaves that are somewhat fuzzy as well. It's very fun. I love the little baby leaves too. They're just so intricate and cute. Hoya australis Lisa recently got demoted to a smaller pot because she was suffering from root rot. Turns out she was just some cuttings thrown in a 6-inch pot. She wasn't happy there. She has thrown out a couple of mostly reverted leaves, and I am hoping that her new little growth points will give me some variegation. Some of these large leaves at the base are just so impressive. This Hoya Ben Ngong Ngoi, which I could totally be butchering. It has been dormant in my care for quite some time, but I noticed a growth point on it, so I'm very excited for what's to come. Hoya Benitotani, I believe, has another name that I cannot remember. It was formerly something else, but has put off these 2 neon leaves in my care, as well as this one that is hardened off. It's working on a couple more. Again, I trellis this one in hopes that it will grow the way I want it to and not all over the place. I am going to be doing a Hoya trellising video for you soon, so if that is something you are interested in, you can let me know in that comment section that that's what you're waiting for. Hoya Bulusan was one of the more recent acquisitions to my collection before I moved. This one is a one-leaf wonder. It has a couple of growth points that have started and stopped, and we'll see if they ever come to fruition. Hoya Callistophylla has exploded in the last month or so. It put off a new vine and is putting out 3 or 4 leaves on it right now. It has put off these 3 upright facing leaves in my care. That leaf over on the right was the only one it had when it came to me, but it does have an additional node down there where the leca is, and that's where this vine came from. Sold as a Hoya finlaysonii long leaves. This leaf and the one I'm about to show you are the newest ones in my care and my favorite ones on this plant. Look at how splashy. It's like a half moon splash situation. So cool. I love it. Those little dark spots are also some sun stress, so not to worry. This is an original leaf that it was sold to me with, and that front leaf was also developed in my care. Hoya fitchii, I'm not gonna lie, is real sad right now. This one got badly overrun by that rust situation before I really understood that it was happening, because this plant didn't show any signs on the upsides of the leaves. I had to get under it and look at the bottom of the leaves to know that there was something wrong. So hopefully this guy will start growing again soon. He's miserable. Hoya goldeneye is another one-leaf wonder. Thankfully it's this leaf because it is my favorite one that was on this plant. It Its other leaves did get rust and I did have to remove them, though it's flirted with a couple of growth points between now and then. We'll see. Hoya Iris Marie came to me as probably 4 or 5 leaves, and it's put off this spontaneous vine very close to a grow light, so it's a deep burgundy color as opposed to the green leaves that I received initially. And a couple of the leaves that are shown in this footage have just gotten so huge being right next to the grow light. It's those 2 dark red leaves in particular that are on my hand right now that have just gotten enormous. I love the sun stressing. It's clearly very happy where it is, so there it stays. Hoya Jennifer. I love these leaves. That is the first one it put off in my care with those very distinct dark veins, and then this one is the second one that it has put off in my care. 2 leaves at the bottom were the ones I received it with. Hoya Kaoyai, or species 22, came to me as just this one leaf and a little stem, and that stem grew and grew and then threw out a couple of leaves eventually. This top leaf that's kind of wrinkly and sun-stressed grew in this location where I just recently moved. It is putting off a new growth point at the base. Hoya numelarioides has been a little bit of a struggle for me to understand for a little while, but I think we're starting to communicate better. These are a couple of its new leaves, those dark, really shiny ones, and then when they harden off, they become kind of cardboard-like and fuzzy. This leaf has also grown to be pretty large in comparison to all the others, which makes me laugh. It's getting more light than it did in my last place, so I think it is thriving with that. It has not given me any more peduncles than the ones I underwatered and lost, but soon, hopefully. Hoya macrophylla albomarginata is sometimes referred to as Hoya latifolia albomarginata. I'm not sure which is correct, but this is the name it was sold to me as, so that is displayed for you. I bought this from Gabriella Plants a year and a half ago, and it has definitely grown since then. It was in a 4-inch pot. I unfortunately overwatered it right after filming this video, and it has dropped a couple of said beautiful leaves, but I'm sure it will be just fine. I will say, these leaves it puts out with extra yellow do tend to die off quicker. This Hoya memoria used to be called Hoya gracilis. That is no longer a Hoya's name, though it is often still sold as it, just so you know. Mine did pretty well close to a grow light in my last place, and when I moved here I put it a little too close to that grow light. I got these really tiny dark leaves, and I've since moved it a little bit away from the grow light, and it's gotten much happier. These are what the healthy leaves normally look like. Hoya mindorensis yellow. This was actually a second plant that I received of this. The first one arrived frozen, and this one arrived thriving and happy and has put off this gigantic leaf for me. It put off an even bigger leaf than that before I moved, but it of course chucked it down to the ground in anger when I put it in a box for a week. This Hoya motosuke, I've seen some debate as to whether or not this is like a real Hoya, but it is shaped differently than my other Hoyas, so we're going to keep calling it that. I love the splashing. It's been a pretty consistent grower, though dormant since I moved here. Hoya nicholsoniae, you guys watched me unbox, and it has thrown off a vine, so I put it on this trellis, and it has not given me any leaves yet, but hopefully soon. This Hoya Philippines has been a struggle for me. It has thrown down leaves, it has rotted, it has done all kinds of things. This vine completely dried up and died after I filmed this video, so this guy is just going to stay my little struggle for a little while. I hope we can learn to understand each other soon. This Hoya pubicalyx that I suspect is a Royal Hawaiian Purple. This Hoya grows so fast and so readily. I will say a lot of the leaves are kind of upside down because I was letting it trail before, and now I have trellised it, so it doesn't look the best of all my projects. But I think it'll be fine, and I just love the new leaves on it, how purpley and burgundy they come in. You can even see that one in the back there. Ah, so pretty. Clearly different than my other pubicalyx. Hoya quinquenervia I recently repotted because it was flopping around, and that's how I realized it had a root rot. It was not really attached to its pot anymore, so we're working on it. It put off that shiny leaf at the top in my care months ago and has been kind of dormant since. Hoya Rebecca has been a pretty consistent grower for me, though it's been kind of adjusting to our new move. And I chopped and placed that right cutting back in the pot shortly after it was growing and happy in my care. This one sun stresses really well. It gave me that huge leaf first when it arrived to me. It was not trellised until recently, so you can see the leaves just got smaller and smaller and smaller. So we'll see what size the leaves come out now that it has some support. This Hoya rigida gave me a lot of headache for quite some time. This one was badly infested with scale. It took me a long time to get it clean. It has put off vines and then no leaves and then dried up the vine and then dropped one of its leaves. But finally, I see some growth points, and hopefully I'll get a new leaf soon. Hoya rubida is very happy to grow for me. It has these gorgeous veiny leaves, and this is what the sun-stressed ones came out like. Some of them are orangey and rusty colored. I just love it. And this one didn't grow very much for me in my last place, but since here it got placed a little bit closer to a grow light, it has erupted with growth on every vine. Hoya shepherdii. This one is one of the newer acquisitions to my collection, though it is one of the larger Hoyas that I have. It has grown pretty steadily for me. I think it now has 2 peduncles. I'm showing you one of them here. And they have not activated or done anything in my care yet, but it's just nice to know that there's that opportunity for more flowers. The shiny dark leaves like this one are the ones that it has put off in my care. This one is nicknamed the green bean Hoya. And then there's this one new leaf that's kind of wide that I wonder what that one's going to look like. Hoya verticillata was a gift with purchase from one of my favorite Etsy shops. This one has put off a couple of vines and is working on a leaf for me right now on that longest vine. These leaves are super thick and pointy. It's just so fascinating to me. I don't know why I really like these leaves, but I do. Hoya viola is one of my favorite Hoyas that I own. I gave it a little bath since this. What you're seeing is that 8 insect spray. It definitely works for pests. It's not the cleanest looking spray on foliage, but it comes off pretty easily with a rag. This Hoya was only 2 or 3 leaves when I got it. That is the most recent leaf that it put off in my care, and it is working on 3 right now. Hoya vitellinoides has done absolutely nothing in over a year, so I just converted it from leca to soil, and I see a tiny growth point. We'll see if you can see it too. Right there, just to the left of that middle dry nubbin, there was a new active one. Hoya weyertii has been one of the faster growers in my collection. It has been very no fuss, loving its life next to the grow light. As you can see, I'm loving its coloration, so it's staying right there as long as it is happy. I love these purpley burgundy leaves, the super dark margins. You will see this plant as just solid green if it's not getting this level of light, so it is the same plant, but I just love how this looks. Hoya West Timor is one of my favorite strange thick-leaved wonders. This one, I love the formation of this particular plant because it's so flower-like and so evenly distributed. That leaf up top is the only one it has put out in my care, though it has thrown out a vine and a couple of growth points, so I imagine once it's happy in this setting, it will give me even more. Thank you so much for watching. If you did make it all the way to the end, I totally appreciate you. You guys are the real MVPs. You guys are helping my channel grow. Leave me a comment with a planty emoji. That's how I know you made it this far. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know which one was your favorite from this video, or maybe which one you're hoping to purchase. Let us know in that comment section. As always, I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening wherever you are, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.